What's up, guys? I am here today to talk about a little project I was thinking of doing that I was mentioning in my last video about a guild that locks in at 52 so that raids can be done on, say, like Box or Nagy, or other people can join the guild if they want, and that want to do those raids at some point and leave at any time, I guess. But me, I don't play this game like normal, like everybody else does. I really have no interest or care for the top end. I don't care to do those raids. I'd have been just fine without Omens of War. I mean, I wouldn't mind one of my Beast Lords eventually getting to 70, just for the ease of doing what I do, farming stuff. But the thing is, I don't want to have to go to the zones I need to go to kill the mobs that give me the experience to be able to get to 70. I just have no interest in that stuff. I mean, that's how I play. I mean, everybody else is different. I mean, to each their own. Um, but I like things like twinking characters, locking the experience. That's one thing I liked about WoW is you could lock your experience in and then just have fun. Play a certain style. Level 10 twinks. I used to do that all the time. Level 1 twinks. That's just how I enjoy the game. But when I was farming that stuff the other day, uh, I had that idea about locking in, and then I realized, at 51, when you get AA, it's essentially locking your experience because you can turn AA on 100%, and all your experience will go to AA. I know that won't be classic, and there will be benefits to being a locked in 52 that continues to play and earns all those AAs that are like, I believe you can only get the general tab. I think anything in your archetype or whatever it's called tab is like 55 and up. You gotta be 55 to be able to do a lot of those AAs. But basically, you're just boosting all your stats and things like that, which is good. But the idea behind, oh, excuse me, I ain't got nothing brought up on the computer yet. One of my painted pieces as a wallpaper deal there. Um, but the idea is to play the game using nothing but pre-planer stuff. I know a lot of people say, well, just go to P99 if you want to do that. No, I don't want to go to P99. I don't care for P99. I like this server. I like to be able to go do things, but there's sometimes I want to do certain styles of play. And if I'm capable of doing it here just by sheer willpower and wanting to do it by playing a certain way, then there's no reason I need to go to a server that's you have no choice but to play that way. So my idea is to use the list now. I mean, there's a lot of items out there that are not, I mean, on these lists that are just as good, but these lists that I'm going to show, like if you go to the P99 wiki, let's bring that up. And you go to the tabs over here. If you go down to character, there's a selection called classes, which is what I'm on now. If you click the class, it'll give you a list of all the different classes you can play. Then if you click one of these lists, say like, we'll open up Bard. It gives you all the stuff about the class, back in Classic, and all the things about the songs. I mean, you can even click off Kunark Velovis there if you just want to see spells available. So that's another thing. The spell list that is going to be available on Wayfarer's Haven is completely, or not completely, but a lot different than what it would be on P99. For instance, you're going to be getting certain spells earlier on Wayfarer's Haven than you would have back in Original Classic. You're going to have a lot of spells that weren't available then that are available now. Which I'm not going to be anal with this thing in Guild to an extent. I mean, spells are all fine. Use every spell you've got coming up to 52, and at 52, I don't care. Use all the AAs and abilities you can get. That's fair game. The only thing I want to restrict is the gear, the items that you're able to use. I want to either pull from the best, what they consider the best in slot items to have at pre-planer times, or anything basically that's not even listed that was available pre-planer. I mean, you might find a different build than they have that you think works better for that class or whatever. For instance, I've noticed that a certain things on the pre-planer list for like necros, in the range of robes and things like that they list. Okay, some of them robes are not pre-planer. They were Cunarch in error. So you have to look at that stuff. Some of it is wrong. But there's a lot of stuff that are not on those lists that are real good items. And another thing about being a Wayfarer's Haven, a lot of these old world items also have ability boost on them. Like, for instance, the ring that drops off Najina used to just have 20 hit points. Now it has buff enhancement 2 on it. So that's it. Any spell up to level 44, has a boosted ability, which that would be great for clerics, druids. I plan on using something that has boosted abilities like that. It might not be that particular one, but if you had that ring on and you cast the Sow, it's now like a 41, 44 minute spell. It's great for the clerical buffs, the damage shields, anything like that. It even works off clicky buffs, which I don't think there's any clicky buffs on anything pre-planar, but it affects those as well. And then there's the old classic armor quest. I know there's new armor quests you can do now, which is actually better than the old classic stuff like Crafted, Dark Forge, Lambient armors. There's the cleric, there's the row armor for paladins. Now, druids and rogues didn't have a set pre-planar. It was after Cunarch opened up, they started having Raven Scale drop in Khazak Thul, but it drops outside of Khazak Thul now, since they did the revamp, and also all the Dark Forge pieces that would drop off the Crusaders and one other mob all spawn outside of Khazak Thul now, except they only spawn on Crusaders now because those other particular mobs don't actually spawn outside the building. So they've set it up where all the pieces drop on the Crusaders, and they say they can be. And I'm saying this because I've already done a full set of Dark Forge for an SK I'm making. I've already done a full set of Lambent. The easiest one in the world is a full set of Crafted. Other than the gems required, multiple gems for each piece, the items are easy as hell to get. And what else did I do? Oh, I did the full cleric set. But with the warrior, what I was noticing when I looked at the best in slot list for them is almost every piece of that set of Crafted is considered the best in slot item. There was one or maybe one, I think only one piece that wasn't considered, and it gave you an option for other pieces, but it was still in the list. And it was the easiest set to get. So I got that. But okay, well, I got off track there. The rogue stuff drops out there too, and then when the hole opened up, they made a set called Withered Leather that ended up being the druid's version of the old classic armors or whatever. So using that. And as far as Beast Lords go, I'm not against somebody doing a Beast Lord, but you would have to stay with everybody else by using the old armors or pre-planar. You'd kind of have to look at all the stuff and see what would work best as best in slot for a Beast Lord. I'm going to do a build and I'll post it at some point, but I'm guessing anywhere between monk, druid, and shaman gear, because there's certain items like I was thinking only the fabled dwarven work boots had Beast Lord added to them, but I was looking at the old version of the work boots earlier, and they have Beast Lord on them now too. So that might actually end up being the best in slot boots you can get for a Beast Lord pre-planar gear. But things like that Sithrak hide, the one that drops in Wrath Mountains off that shaman lizard. Now that would be a good choice. You know, because Black Panther stuff didn't exist yet. It came out after Cunark. Excuse me. And but yeah, like okay, when you go on, let me get back to what I was talking about. Like when you go on the class that you want to play, if you scroll all the way down toward the bottom of the list and the gear, you start seeing right here, armor and weapons, pre-planer. Now there's a list of what was considered best in slot, or when these builds were done, what was considered best in slot to have pre-planer. Then you have a planer list, like when after the planes came out right after Cunark. Then you have Cunark, and well, I think those are the planes that showed up just before or right when Cunark was releasing, like Sky, Fear, Hate, whatever, you know. Then you got your Cunark, then you got your Velous pre-raid group, Velous raiding, and basically what we'd be using, or I would suggest we use, is this pre-planer list right here. Not many of these items are no drops, so basically you can go farm them. Now, again, I'm not anal. This is not all lang sin like on P99. It's not start from scratch, do what you can, only earn what you do. No, if you got a main, you know, I'm not against you power leveling your character up. I mean, unless you just want to go slow and enjoy the game like I do, maybe grab a couple buddies along the way that are interested too, and that are going to be in the guild, you know, level that way. But I'm also not against going and farming all this stuff ahead of time, which is what I'm doing. Like, go farm your full set of armor. Go farm all the weapons. Farm this best in slot list. Throw it on your character, and that way you're not worrying about looking for items. You're just enjoying leveling the characters. You know, up to the point where you lock in your experience and you go 100% AA. And to me, I do 3-box every now and then, but 90% of the time, I've got one character that I'm really playing, and the other two are just there for convenience, buffs, port me around, or something like that, just to have. Or honestly, 95% of the reason that I would box characters is when I'm farming lore items. You know, it's great to have a druid, because you can hand the first one off to it and be able to loot the second one that drops. And like my druid, if I'm going to be farming someplace for a while, I'll freaking bind her there, you know, and then grab something, port it back, stick it in the shared bank slot, or hand it off to the third character that you log in somewhere else. And you just keep doing that. You just keep passing these lore items off, and you don't have to leave the place. What's great with Lorelei is when we did the anniversary deal, everybody's getting illusion max, I got the banker for her because she is always with me. That way, if I have to, I get max lore items on both characters. I pop out the banker, drop all the junk into both characters' shared bank slots, and then I'm ready to go for another whole full round, you know, before I ever have to leave the place. But go farm your armors, farm your best in slot weapons, drop them on your tunes, play. I'll probably do a duo, not a trio, because another reason I hate trios is just, I can't stand that shared experience crap. It takes way too long to level. To me, it's faster to either power level one up, because if you're doing that, you're working the skills on that character. You're focusing on that character. All his abilities are going up. All his weapon skills are going up. You're developing a feel for the character. You know where all your hotkeys are, all your buttons, everything. And then when you get ready to do that second character, you power level it up. The same thing. You don't have something just sitting there on the side. You're not working the skills. You're not working his abilities unless you absolutely have to log over to him. And in my opinion, that hurts a character, because then you got to stand in POK, casting your spells over and freaking over and over, trying to build them up, because you just, you know, rode the coattails of another character. But what I plan on doing is having a druid for one of mine, and probably it's going to be my SK first. SK and druid. And then at some point I will help catch a cleric up. And then another point I'm going to get my bard up. And then I might do a mage cache, something like that. But I don't think I'm ever going to run more than 2 at a time. You know, I just don't care to do that. And even for the guild deal, a lot of people like to play one character, so I wouldn't be opposed to just playing one character and not boxing, you know. And I'd rather people be focused and knowing what they're doing than bouncing around and then end up not healing somebody or not getting this character out of the way in time and just causing clusterfucks and all that kind of shit. I just really don't care for all the boxing stuff myself. Not while grouping. But yeah, okay, I'm him hawing and yeah. Another little side note. I've been talking to Sang. I put a link in my last video in the comments. If y'all go like him, follow him also. We'll do something eventually here. But he was talking about how he feels like he's rambling all the time. But I mean, I don't see a problem in it. You know, I have no filter. When I'm making a video, I'm just talking. I won't tell you what I want to tell you. I won't say it as it comes into my mind. But yeah, yeah, he's a cool dude. Went and gave him some buffs last night, but he ended up not being recording at the time, so I don't know if he caught anything for his own videos. But yeah, this is basically what it is. If you go to P99 list, I mean, you can go to other websites too, I guess. I don't know. If y'all know of any other best-in-slot pre-planning or list on these websites that I don't know about, please link them, because hell, I'd like to know some other things to look at too. This is just what I know, what I go to, so this is what I've been using. I've already got a guild I made. There was an old guild back on live I was in. It was called, well, it's actually a befitting name for a 52 lock-in so that you can do Nagi Vox. It's Order of Draconis. So I've got the guild already. If we can get that started, excuse me, get people logged in, you know, invited to that, and definitely. Oh, excuse me. Ooh, Coke get to me. I'm not gonna lie, people. I don't know these raids. I don't. I never did them back in the day. I would love to do them. So, people with experience that want to do this, if you've done the raids, if you were raid leaders, if you know all this stuff, then shit, I'd love to have you, you know, join in and run the stuff, because I don't know anything about these dragon raids. I just want to do them and figured this would be a fun idea. And that's basically how I play this game. I get an idea, that's how I play it. Either starting from scratch, or can I do this the hard way, or I'm a try hard. I like to go the hard way about something rather than the easy way. But yeah, let's see. I've went and done all of these. Let's see. I've gotten a lot of these things, been farming these zones, getting best in slots. Let's see. Okay. Armor. Yeah. Chest plate piece of the constant. I've gotten all this stuff. Now, some of these items, they've actually added buffs to. Okay, right here, this chest piece of the constant, it shows 20 AC, stamina, you know. But the version that is on Wayfarer's Haven also has buff duration 2 built into it. Let me see. Okay, breastplate of the constant, and let me see, Wayfarers. Go to Alakazam. Alright, chest piece of constant. Say extended enhancement 2 is on their version, which is great. It's the same thing also on oh, there's a chest, the mithril chest piece that drops off the Crusader Ghoul down in Lower Guck on the live side. Yeah, I camped him for the Falchune for my bard and for that chest piece, and I finally got the chest piece, and it had the same thing built into it. It's supposed to be the best in slot for a druid. and it had the extended enhancement on it too. So that's really good to have that buff on your healer, on your casters or whatever, your buffers. I'm not sure if the shaman has it or not. I'll tell you what. Let me see. Um, Totemic chest piece, right? Totemic boots, totemic. Yep, extended enhancement too. Awesome. Say, because I'm out in the middle of doing the shaman stuff too. So getting that breastplate will make a shaman's buffs last a shitload longer. Matter of fact, when I try to get pieces in different zones. Like if I'm farming one zone for one list, I'll double check other lists and see if there's not something that drops there that I need to grab too. Or every time I get a no drop item, I'll save it until I can look it up to make sure it's not for a quest that I want to do later, because I would sure as hell not want to go back and try to get it again. Because normally the time when you're looking for something, it don't drop. It's only when you're not looking for it that the shit drops every freaking kill. But the bear, I'd went in there to kill the bear in the ice caves in Everfrost, and I ended up killing the undead necro down there. But there was only 2 ice bones wandering around. They were supposed to be the placeholders for that freaking bear, and that bear was like on a 6 or 8 hour spawn timer. So I ran back in there yesterday, and he popped. So I got the glacier bear, whatever. No. Okay, that's the guy that gives it to you. That's not the item. Okay. Yeah. See, that's this not telling me the quest. Yeah, it's not. That's weird. Okay, but so we know that all the priest classes have that extended buff duration on them now. See, cleric, druid, shaman, extended buff. I don't think any of the rest of them have anything. I know the Shadow Knight one doesn't. I've done a full set of Dark Forge already. I've done a full set of Crafted. There were no bonuses on it yet. Let me check the Pally real quick. See if it had anything. But yeah, you'll have a lot of spells. Breastplate of Roe. Oh, I done left that. Hold up. Nope. No bonuses on it either. Okay. Alright, well. It's just the priest classes, which is great because they're the buffers and the healers. And there was one totem, rain slot or something, that was supposed to be for a priest that's supposed to be in best in slot. And I know for a fact that particular item on Wayfarer's Haven has improved healing 1 or 2 on it. So that would be good to have. Alright guys, well, that's kind of my idea. Like I said, the guild's already formed. It's Order Draconis. I still got to make my tunes. I've been running around farming all the armors and the weapons and stuff ahead of time before I even start. But so I think what I'm gonna do is start with the SK and the Druid. I want to do the Cleric too, but I just don't want to run 3 right now. It'll be a Dark Elf Cleric and Dark Elf SK. Shaman would be great later. But the ports and all the damage shield and all that are great. Of course, if you're running a mage, you've got an extra pet DPS and you've got a better damage shield anyway. Eventually, the mage's damage shields get way better than the druids. And they can summon things too. So, that's real good. But, I mean, I don't know if anybody's interested in doing this. I've already seen a few people. Hell, I was on Grim yesterday, and I forgot what his name was. Somebody shouted out in OC wanting to do a lock-in guild for for the dragons because he had watched my video, and I spoke out. I was like, "Oh, you've been watching my video," so I got 3 or 4 tales from different people at the same time that watched it, wanting to be involved in it. So okay, I just thought I'd put this out here. It's just something I want to do, and I don't know. I mean, it's not something I want to. I'm going to be just constantly on the game all day long doing it. So if you start, don't expect to have 100 people there. You know, every time you're trying to play every day. I mean, I have to play when I can play, and of course, I'll stop and go farm some more stuff at some point too. But the point is to get the guild, get it in there, like-minded people, have a goal, 52, lock in, get your AAs, and get these dragons done at some point, and just some groups or some other little raids or whatever. I mean, it's not limited to the dragons. You can still go other places. At 52, if you're able to go kill, go kill. You know, it'd be nice to stay in old worlds and be that kind of anal, but I don't want to be that kind of anal about shit. I just want to be limited to using pre-planar gear. It's kind of like that. What can I do with this? You know, use your skills, use your abilities, and try to max what you are capable of doing with the limited resources. So, all right. Well, I will end that one here, and I will see y'all in the next one.